Well, hello. I am getting ready to cook myself some hopefully fantastic dinner after just ending the live stream. And I was highly encouraged to share my recipe for my brown sugar lemon pepper salmon. So I'm going to prepare that today. And I have just under a half a pound of fresh salmon fillet, farm raised Atlantic uh, from the store. So I'm going to be using this. I'm definitely going to open it up, rinse it off. Well, I'm going to smell it before I rinse it off because if it smells fishy or feels slimy or smells alcoholic, then that is a sign that you do not want to use it. But I've only had this for a day, so it should be fine. So I'm going to rinse this off and season that up. And then I'm also going to have some yellow squash that I need to slice up. So let me get to rinsing my salmon. And I'm going to cook my salmon in this little pan. I buy the Wegmans gold pan meals, and they come in these little pans. And I think I saved one for some reason. So it's about the perfect size. So I'm going to put it in the oven in this. And then I'm going to cook my squash on my trusty cookie sheet that's been around for 20 years probably. So, okay. Oh, that smells a little fishy. Okay, so after rinsing that off, I think it's perfectly fine. It's just sometimes when it's in the package, the skin can start to deteriorate or start to decompose because bacteria is on the skin. So sometimes it will start smelling a little off before it is truly bad. But since the smell and the sticky ickiness washed off completely, I'm not concerned. So I'm just going to use a little bit of parchment paper so it doesn't stick to the pan. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Hold on. There we go. So I'm just going to put this down in the pan with a little parchment paper. Probably could have made that a little bigger so the juices won't come out. And then I'm going to season this with lemon pepper. I'm going to season this with lemon pepper, Kinder's or Kinder's brown sugar, and then I'm also going to put some extra brown sugar on it. And butter. And I'm going to use my fancy New Zealand butter. This is like one of my treat things that I use for myself. So just season this well. Maybe don't overdo it with the lemon pepper, but I do like the kind of dried lemon that is in this, or there's citric acid. Still works really great. A little bit of extra brown sugar. Let me grab a spoon. Hello, Sheldon. Sheldon's helping me cook dinner. So I'm just going to do, that was probably a teaspoon. I'm going to do about a tablespoon of sugar. I don't usually do a ton, but just enough to put a nice coating on it. And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, well, I eat low carb. That's your choice. But honestly, if you Google how much carbs and calories and everything that's in 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, it's really not that bad. And before I get into cutting my squash, I'm going to cut off a little bit of butter and just slivers. Now this salmon I have has a decent amount of fat, but not a lot. So I am going to add a little bit. I would say that's probably a tablespoon of butter altogether. But remember, I'm not going to end up eating all of the butter because it's going to melt off to the side. So this size piece, I would cook at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for, ow, the oven is hot. I would cook at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I would start testing it for temp at 12 minutes. Since it doesn't have a lot of fat, it may take a little bit longer to cook. Okay, so let me put this up. And this is just a storage container I got from IKEA, and it's meant, actually it's meant for leftovers. But you know, back in the day when the sea thing happened and people did a rush on storage containers for their house, for the kitchen, I couldn't get the fancy ones. So I think this was about $4 from IKEA, and they come in this size and then double this size, which holds a 5-pound bag of sugar or a 5-pound bag of flour. And then they have the little seal, like the vacuum seal in them. They are great. And you know, I may actually put a little bit of salt on this because the butter has some salt, but I don't think any of the seasonings that I used have any salt in it. So let me go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to put my parchment paper down for my squash. And when you're doing the parchment paper, like this is the bigger tray that you can't do this direction. You have to do it this direction. This is not a full sheet pan. It's the next size up. But when you're cutting this, hold it and pull it towards you. It usually cuts so much easier. And I'm just going to put a little oil down. And the reason I use parchment paper is because foil will stick. And usually you should use foil when you're trying to wrap things up. Use parchment when you're trying to keep things from sticking. And I'm actually going to stick this extra piece of parchment under the fish to try and prevent the juices from coming out. It's a little short on one side. There we go. And yes, I do have the world's smallest cutting board today because all my mid-size ones are in the dishwasher. And I'm cutting off a lot of this because when I bought these squash, I knew they weren't in the best of shape. And this one's quite beat up. But, you know, there's no mold on it. Just doesn't look pretty. But I'm not going to waste it because it doesn't look pretty. So just try and slice these pretty evenly. I normally like to keep it about 1/4 of an inch. And yes, I am finger handling all my food, but I did just wash my hands before I started cooking. I am not cutting this evenly. Oh, come on. There we go. And one more teeny tiny. You know, and you probably could get a carrot peeler out if you want to take the time and get that a little cleaner. But I'm rushing because my back's hurting. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Hold on, I am doing a terrible job at this. You know what? It's not about perfection. It's about getting it in your mouth to eat. So just make an effort to get these all in one layer. So that way they cook better. They cook way more even when you put them in one layer versus stacking them on top of each other. And man, I've got some that are really thin and some that are really thick. If you've got ones that are too thin, then just stack them on top of each other. Okay, that looks great. And I have some leftover onion that I had previously cut up in advance. And I am just going to scatter this on top. Malibu. And I'm just scattering those onions on top. I'm just going to throw my peels from my squash in the bag and then just throw all this away. Okay, so I usually just on my squash like to salt and pepper it really good. And if I want any other seasoning, I wait until it's done to add it because the oven can burn seasoning. Okay, so the squash, I know you can't really see me. The squash has been seasoned with salt and pepper. It's going to go in the oven. This is going to take 25 minutes at 400 degrees, and this is going to take about 12. So I'm going to put this in for about 13 minutes to start and then pop that in a little later. So I will come back to you as soon as my dinner is ready. Oh, and this cool thing, I got these off of Amazon years and years ago. I know they don't sell this exact one, but I have tons of these in my cabinet because I'm so short. And I put this up on my top shelf, and then I just have to be able to reach this handle. So these are pretty darn fabulous. So this light is making my cabinets look terrible, but I just wanted to show you what I do with these bins. So this is my spice and kind of cooking cabinet, and you can see like all my spices are in these two bins. I have another one for a little bit taller, and then a third one for like vinegars, vanilla, just extra things, more vinegars, yeah, more vinegars basically. And then the one bin that I had out, I'm going to put that up here in this corner. So I can't reach the top shelf, but at least I can get use of the second shelf, because without this, I would not be able to reach anything here. But then I've got like my baking stuff in there. And then I can just slide my oils in here. And usually I do use tongs to grab the oils down. But yeah, that's how I organize my cabinets. My food cabinet is a bit of a mess right now. But I kind of do use the same concept with those little bins. So usually it is very organized. The bottom needs work. That's where all my snacks are. And then up at the top is like my pastas, my beans, my rice-a-roni, because who doesn't need rice-a-roni? And those stupid breadcrumbs that I bought to make a recipe with, and I still haven't. But yeah, usually this is really organized. But I just had a grocery order and I just didn't put anything away. But I love these bins so much. It just makes it so much easier. And you can see like I've got all my beans and all my pasta like in one thing. There's actually a box of elbow macaroni in there. So what's nice is they do go all the way to the back of the cabinet. And then on the bottom shelf, I wasn't able to get enough. Like I could have had 3 and then this one, but I just used the little smaller bin from Dollar Tree to fill in. Okay, so while my dinner is cooking, I've got the squash in for the first half. It is time for me to get steps in. I'm tired. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's been a long day. I worked about 8.5, 9 hours and then did the live stream. Oh, and I have 2,232 steps. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yep. So I've got some steps in already, or 2,244. So while that is going, I'm going to walk around my kitchen. Okay, I've got 7 more minutes of this. Oh, and every circle or lap around is 25 steps. So not too bad. So 4 laps gets me 100 steps. So I'll be at it for another 6 minutes and 45 seconds now. Okay, it is time to put the salmon in the oven. It has been sitting on the countertop, waiting for its time to shine. And oh, maybe I shouldn't leave into the oven right away. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it right in front. It's got plenty of room. So I'm gonna set the timer for that for 12 minutes. And then I'm going to temp it. Let me get my thermometer. So I have just a little stick thermometer by ThermoWorks. And this is what I use. It's instant read. It's not lit. That's one thing I wish the screen were lit, because there's a lot of times where I can't see it, but you just put it in the case and it shuts it off. And it came with a little book for temperatures at home, and there's a quick reference guide on the back. Malibu. I swear to God. Sorry, the cat was getting in everything. And it says on the back, for ham fish, 140. I don't normally do my fish at 140. I do my salmon. I like 145 is what I usually do. Why am I so close? I don't know. Don't mind me. I'm a hot mess tonight. It says fish 140, tuna, swordfish, marlin 125. I think I normally do my salmon 145. But yeah, if you temp it and it's 140, take it out of the oven and let it sit on the counter. It'll come up to 145. And I know a lot of people tend to way overcook their salmon. When they pull it out, all of the white fat is coming out of the meat, and that is not what you want. You still want that fat to be in there. It's okay if like it's coming out a little bit, and like every variety of salmon that you're going to cook in the oven or cook on the stovetop are going to come out differently. Like I like to cook with salmon belly, and that is really delicious, but it has a lot more fat in it. And so you will get a little bit more fat coming out before it gets up to temp. But then some of these drier cuts of meat, you're not going to get as much fat coming out. And then you don't want to cook it to where it's like solid, hard pink all the way through. You definitely want it where it is opaque, where it's not translucent anymore. But you don't want it like overcooked hard as a rock. You'll see when I pull mine out. And I guess Malibu wants to be in the video. Say hello, Malibu. You don't care. Okay, salmon time. It just beeped. Let me pull it out and temp it without burning my face off. Squash is looking good. Turn that timer off. And this looks pretty good. It's white all around the edges, and it's just barely starting to let out some white. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see the thermometer, but you can. It says like 136, and I bet if I let it sit here 137, it is going to go up to the 140 that the book says, and it looks done to me. So, do you see it now? There we go. So yeah, that looks perfectly done to me. You can see how the little bit of white is starting to poke out on the sides. A little bit of white came out when I poked it in the middle. So looks done, yummy, yummy. Let me pull out the squash. And that, woo! Sorry, hold on. I gotta get a hold of the paper too. Squash looks perfectly done. And I'm just gonna take, the time now to season it with a little of Kinder's or Kinder's caramelized onion butter. And it's just a really nice kind of umami flavor. And just use this sparingly because it can get a little overpowering. It just, I don't know, it just smells very umami-ish. It's really hard to describe, kind of almost like nutritional yeast smelling. So it's just got a lot of good yum in it. And so for the squash, to get it on my plate, I honestly just pick up the parchment paper and shake it. And you probably can't hear me talking because of all the crinkle. And yes, I am actually going to try and eat these 3 little squash because this has so minimal calories. It's half an onion and 3 small squash. And it is dishes day, so all I have is a baby fork left. So I'm just going to push this to the side. And I am going to slide my piece of salmon right on my plate. And honestly, folks, this is an 8-ounce piece of salmon. And because I haven't had much protein today, I should be eating all this. I may not get through all of it. I may have to put it in the fridge. But you can see it broke open here, and you can see that this is perfectly cooked. That was 12 minutes, maybe 13 minutes at 400 degrees. That's all you need. It is perfectly done. And I'm actually going to grab a lemon wedge out of the refrigerator. Okay, so you don't necessarily need the lemon because this has a decent amount of lemon pepper on it already. But I always like to have a little extra squeeze, a fresh lemon. And then I actually like it on my squash as well, just to give a little zing. And since I'm not using all of this, and my hands are clean, I'm going to put it back in the bag and just throw this back in the fridge. And I had already sliced up a whole lemon, and this will last about a week in the fridge, already pre-sliced for me. And almost forgot my grapes. Now I keep my grapes in the fridge, pre-washed. I have already picked through them when I get them home, remove anything that's fallen off or anything that's bad, and then I leave them sealed in an airtight container, and they will stay fresh like this for nearly 2 weeks. And this is probably about double what I'll eat, but I'm just going to take the whole stuff up on the screen for you. I'll also try and get the protein count with it, and if I can find the fiber, I'll put all the information up. So this is kind of what I do in an evening when I cook dinner, and then also get my steps in. Now I'm not done with my steps for the day, and I did get a little bit in while I was cooking dinner. So I'm at 3,374 steps by the time I waited for dinner to cook. But I still have a package I have to go pick up, and my goal is 4,500 for the day. So I'm not that far behind. I know it's late for a lot of people, but for me, I'm kind of a night owl. So I'll get my steps in, and I'll post at the end what I get up to. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again in another Amy Loses It video. Have a great one.
one scale and a suitcase to pack. Zepbound in hand, there's no looking back. Cruising through this journey, non-scale victories divine. But can Amy lose the weight without losing her mind?